Hey up guys, my name is Tim and welcome to another Memento video on the channel. Today, 2 weeks ago, we looked at the Memento deck. We did a deck profile for it and I took it to locals, which happened for me a couple of days ago, but for you a couple of weeks ago. And it performed really well, so I want to talk to you about the key cards in the deck. I'm also going to go through how locals went and what went on during the duels there. And I'd like you to guess my record. So if you're looking forward to some more Memento content on the channel, then please do subscribe down below, like the video, comment down below whether you like the Memento archetype. Honestly, it's a fantastic deck, it really is. It's right up there as one of the top ones. And I got it pretty cheap when it came out, so it's gone up in price since the new support came out. So this new support has gone crazy for this deck. So yeah, let's talk about locals for a second. So there was only 3 matches at locals this week. Not quite sure why. I don't think we had enough people to do a 4th round or something. I'm not quite sure. But essentially, yeah, three rounds, and I took on, during my stint, I took on Tenpai Dragons, piloted by my friend Antonio over at Sons of Russell on YouTube. So Tenpai Dragons, I took on Runick Whitewood Stun, and I took on Ice Barrier, with a little bit of Runick in there as well. So yeah, let me know what you think that my record was for those taking it on with a pure Memento deck, and the deck profile for this Memento deck is down below. So let's get on into what the cards are, and then at the end I'll talk through locals in full. So there's quite a few key cards that I want to go through in today's video. So we're going to rattle through them a little bit faster and join a couple of them up together. But yeah, I want to cover, first of all, our boss monster for the deck. We have got Combined Creation over here. Combined Creation is a fantastic boss monster. It's really easy to summon at the end of your combo, and the interaction that you can have alongside Cranium Burst to be able to reduce its attack and basically turn this guy into an Appaloosa is really, really strong and helped me out a lot when it came to locals. So this has the effect of cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand and or graveyard into the deck / extra deck. Really easy to summon. Really easy to summon off this deck. And when you control no other monsters, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. It doesn't come up very often, honestly, but it's a little bit of something. If you can only end with this guy, or if you're on like a turn 3 and you're looking to close out the game, you can actually do this, and you're also able to give this guy piercing later on, which would give it a 5,000 attack. Piercing can attack every monster that your opponent controls, which is really strong. And then once per turn, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon 1 Memento monster from your hand or graveyard. Again, something that it didn't come up all that much for me, to be honest. I didn't use it all that much, but to be able to extend a little bit further, it is useful just to be able to fill up your field a little bit more for link plays, because half of the extra deck, a good portion of the extra deck for Mementos is link monsters, and generic link monsters at that. So yeah, being able to get some monsters on the field for those link plays is really useful. But yeah, because this is such an easy boss monster to summon, I had to include it as being an important card in the set. Plus, look at how cool it looks. Look at how amazing it is. Okay, now we're going to move on to the 1-card starters. So, 2 1-card starters for the combo. You've got Anguish and you've got Darkblade. Basically, Darkblade is a 1-card starter because you can summon Anguish off of a Darkblade. So Darkblade has the effect of, first of all, if he's normal or special summoned, you can discard a Memento card and then target a spell or trap that your opponent controls and destroy it. That's really useful. But also, during your main phase, you can destroy a Memento monster that you control, which can be Darkblade himself. And if you do, special summon a level 3 or lower Memento monster from your deck. Just an easy way to get to Anguish. It's perfect for that. If you draw into a Darkblade and an Anguish, then you probably I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up as to what you want to use. Probably use the Dart Blade and then get into another Anguich maybe, but it doesn't matter either way really. Because Anguich here, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Memento monster from your deck to your hand, except for Anguich, which is how you then get into your Tatsunute Shigo. And then you can target one level 2 or lower Memento monster in your graveyard, destroy a Memento monster that you control, again that can include herself, and if you do special summon the targeted monster, you can only use each effect once per turn. So it is just a rotor. For the deck on normal or special summon, it's just a rotor. And then you can use that effect to bring back another level 2 or lower, which you would bring back majority of the time. You're bringing back Mementotlan Mace after you've used the effect of Mementotlan Tatsunute Shigo. I'm going to talk about Bone Party next, because Bone Party is a 1.5 card combo, essentially. So you can destroy one Memento monster in your hand or face-up field, take one Memento monster from your deck with a different name and either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense position. So you don't use Bone Party during the main part of your combo. You actually set it up so that you can use it during your opponent's turn, because it is a quick play. Which means that you can use this. Destroy a Memento monster. If you don't have an Anguich or a Dart Blade in your hand, you can destroy a Memento monster that is in your hand in order to be able to get to Anguich, which makes it a 1.5 card combo, I suppose. You still need to have another Memento monster. So if you're really unlucky to not draw into a Memento monster, but we are playing lots of them in the deck, then that's a little bit of a shame. And then you've also got, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one Memento monster that you control. If it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict piercing battle damage. That's how you get your piercing battle damage onto combined creation, using Bone Party. And you can only use each effect once per turn, which is absolutely fine. So yeah, Bone Party, a really good card as a 1.5 card combo, 1.5 card starter. Alright, next up we're going to talk about Tatsunute Shigo. So, yeah, we've mentioned him a couple of times as being like a card that you're searching for off of Anguich. It probably is the best card to search for off of Anguich if you don't have it in your hand already. If you've already got Anguich and Tatsu in your hand, then you can use Anguich to search for something else. Or you can bait out that Ash Blossom or like a Effect Veiler or an Imperm or something like that, because you really want Tatsu to go through. It's really important this goes through. So if you do not control any face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster that you control and send any number of Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your graveyard, whose total levels are less than or equal to the destroyed monster's original level. So yeah, really useful to be able to get what you need in the graveyard. You can get a 1-card combo out of this as well, which I will show you in the combo video next week. But yeah, it's a really cool card to just be able to send what you need to the graveyard. And usually when you're using this, you send a copy of Mace, Goblin, and Mementotlan Sleepy to the graveyard for a total of level 5. So yeah, really good card to use. Next up, we've got Sleepy. Sleepy's the latest bit of support. So Sleepy and Creation King were both released in Infinite Forbidden, and they just open this deck up to be absolutely broken. So during a turn, a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. The fact that that's a quick effect and goes into its next effect is insane. So if this card is normal or special summoned, you can fusion summon one Memento fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. Sleepy just fuses on summon, and you can do that during your opponent's turn because it's out on summon and you can quick effect summon this from your hand. It is so broken how much interruption this one card creates during your opponent's turn. Essentially, like, there was times in locals I was just playing the game on the opponent's turn because of Sleepy just being able to do that. It allows you to then go into a Twin Dragon, and a Twin Dragon can then pop itself, which we'll go through in a second. But you can just combo off during your opponent's turn using Sleepy, and basically end up with, it's like a very complex way to get a Dark Blade on the field to be able to pop a spell or trap or something like that, but it does work, and then you can go further by linking off with IP Masquerena and such like that. So Sleepy, really important card. But as well, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one Memento card from your deck to the graveyard, except for Sleepy, which is really useful because it just specifies Memento card, and we've got a way of bringing back spells and traps from the graveyard to the field in a set position. So we can send one of our Memento traps, which we're only playing one of each. We can send one of those and then set it during the end phase of our turn using our field spell. Again, really strong being able to do that. It just works so well together. Next up, let's go into Fusion. So Fusion's an important card to cover because it's not just a regular fusion spell. So it's got the regular, obviously, fusion effect. During the main phase, fusion, summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Memento monster. Pretty basic so far. If a monster in your possession was destroyed by a card effect this turn, which if it wasn't, then you're playing the deck wrong, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard into the deck as material. It's incredible. Absolutely fantastic to be able to do that. So shuffling Memento monsters from graveyard into the deck just to summon out one of your cards is just phenomenal, because you get this at a point where you actually have no monsters on the field. So just being able to still extend from there is brilliant. Then also during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to destroy one monster that you control. And then if you do, add one Memento spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is usually a copy of Bone Party, which you can then set for your opponent's turn. So yeah, really powerful couple of effects there. Next up, let's go into those fusions that you're going to be going on. Starting off with Creation King, which this card is insane. So other than the fact that it looks unbelievably good, look at that artwork, it is so amazing. But you can also essentially summon this guy out for free using Memento Upland Fusion. So it requires 3 Memento monsters to summon, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to add one field spell from your deck to your hand. You cannot activate the following effects of Creation King in the same chain. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 Memento cards from your deck and or extra deck to the graveyard, which is amazing. So you can just do that in order to send what you want to the graveyard instead of the cards that you've ended up with in the graveyard. It's really strong to be able to do, and like I say, it basically means that it comes out for free. And then, quick effect, you can target an equal number of Memento monsters that you control and cards that your opponent controls, destroy them. You can only use each effect of Creation King once per turn. So, if you end up with a board that you can get some extra Memento monsters on the field that you don't need, Creation King can just pop them, including itself if you wanted, and that means that you can pop the same number of cards on your opponent's side of the field. Absolutely fantastic. And what you do with this is when you summon it, one of the cards that you send to the graveyard with its effect is another copy of itself, so that you can use its graveyard effect to be able to get your field spell on the field as well. So really strong card, definite 2 of in the deck. It's really powerful. I absolutely love it. And then next up, we've got Twin Dragon, which I always forget that it didn't come out with the rest of the Memento cards, because it came out with the fusion a little bit later. This one requires 2 Memento monsters, and any monster destroyed by battle with your Memento monster is banished. You can only use each of the following effects of Twin Dragon once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 Memento monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add up to 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Again, the fact that it's just on summon means you can do this during your opponent's turn. When you summon your Sleepy, you summon your Sleepy, use it to fuse into the Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon immediately activates in order to pop itself, and then add 2 Memento monsters with different names from deck to hand. which can be any monster essentially. It just says Memento monsters. And then as well, if this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 level 6 or lower Memento monster from your graveyard. So it carries on extending even if you use it for the popping for its own effect. Absolutely incredible synergy now with these cards. It creates a fantastic combo down the line, and I will be showing that to you next week. And it just creates a combo which gets you so many interruptions. It is unreal. So with that, let's go and have a chat about how I did in locals. So as I said, I took the exact deck that I showed you in deck profile to locals. I did end up siding a couple of cards out during locals and decided that actually it was a better idea to have those cards sided out, but that's absolutely fine. So like I said, I went through Tenpai Dragon alongside my friend Antonio. I took on Runick Whitewoods, and I took on Ice Barrier. So yeah, my record, like I said, we only had 3 games for some reason. My record was 2-1 with a deck that honestly I'm not 100% familiar with. This is not as easy for me to play with as my Red Dragon Archfiend deck or my Dinosaur deck that I know a little bit better. So I was really happy. I said that I just wanted to go evens, and I went positive technically. If there'd have been a 4th round, then maybe we could have tested whether I'd have gone evens or not. But it really performed so well. So first game was up against Tenpai Dragons and my good friend Antonio over at Sons of Russell. I knew that he was playing Tenpai ahead of time. He knew that I was playing Memento ahead of time. He's never played against my Memento deck in full, but I have showed him the combo before. And I played against his Tenpais before. So yeah, I was at a little bit of an advantage, I suppose. So in game 1, I won the dice roll. I still chose to go first. I want to go first with this deck because it creates so many interruptions during the opponent's turn that I just wanted to go first. And I drew into Anguich and Tatsunu Toshigo. So I had full combo, and the other important card that I had in my hand was Triple Tactics Talent. So I normal summoned by Anguich and used its effect to search, and he ashed. Now the important thing was I already had Tatsu in my hand, so I still had full combo to go into, but I'd used up his Ash Blossom. So I let the Ash Blossom resolve, no problem at all. I then Triple Tactics Talent, and I decided to take a look at his hand and see if I could rip one out of there. And I looked at his hand and I saw that he had one of the Tenpai Dragons, I think it was Hydra. He had a Lightning Storm and he had a Raigeki. The one thing that Mementos doesn't really do is negate spells and traps. I can negate monster effects all day, but spells and traps I struggle with just that little bit. So I thought, take that Raigeki off him. I don't want the Raigeki, and I want to force him into using the Lightning Storm to take out my back row. That was my thought process, because I still had a lot, with knowing that he only had the one Tenpai Dragon in his hand. Obviously he could draw into another one, or he could draw into a Sangan Kaiman, or Sangan Summoning. I knew that I had enough that I could just pop monsters on his field without any issue whatsoever. So I took away his Raigeki, I then went full combo, and ended up on my full end board of having Creation King, Combined Creation, and an IP Masquerader on there, alongside a Bone Party set and a Cranium Burst set. It goes to his turn. He summons it. Well, first of all, he wipes my back row. Absolutely fine. I was fine with him doing that. I kind of baited him into doing it, I suppose. And then he summoned his dragon out and searched for Sangan Summoning. As soon as Sangan Summoning hit the field, I immediately started my plays in order to get Darkblade onto the field. So RP Masquerader, sort of combo off, bring out the Darkblade, and then pop the Sangan Summoning. At that point, he's at a bit of a loss as to where he can go, because he needed that Sangan Summoning to stay there, I was then able to just, I think I actually took control of his Pydra so that he couldn't do anything else with it. And then he just had to pass on an empty board, and I gave him control of his Pydra back. No, I linked it off, sorry, I linked off his Pydra. And then I just went in for game during turn 3 because he didn't have anything which he could stop me with. So yeah, absolutely, it performed exactly as it should have done on that. He chose to go second on game 2. He started off by normal summoning his Genroku, and that's the one that I don't really know. It's a newest support. I don't really know what that one does too much. But anyway, he managed to. Sorry, he let me go first. Sorry, I went full combo. And then he normal summoned his Genroku, and I didn't know exactly what he was going to be doing with it. He also had access to his Sangen summoning and played his Sangen summoning, went straight into his battle phase. During the main phase, I did pop his Sangen summoning again. I thought, I'm just not dealing with it. So I popped his Sangen summoning again. And then he proceeded into the battle phase, and I managed to stall him a little bit, but he still ended up with enough on field that he would be able to take me out. Except he forgot Trident Dragon's effect fully. So Trident Dragon allows you to pop up to 2 cards on your field in order to give him extra attacks during the battle phase and increase his attack. He forgot about that and thought that he had to pop exactly 2, and he didn't have exactly 2. So he misread it, and past turn, whilst I had like 2,000 life points left, I then went in onto my turn, managed to rebuild a board again because he didn't have any interruptions for me. I then I destroyed one monster. I think I destroyed his Trident Dragon. I pinched the Transcendent Dragon off him, and then went in for game. So I won. I won in 2 games against Tenpai Dragons. So I was really, really happy with that. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail about the other 2 games because I don't know that next that they were running quite as well. So, Runick White Woods was next, and it's the same guy who was running White Woods a couple of weeks ago when I was playing with Dinos, and I've never beaten him, and he's one of the best duelists who gets there. So yeah, I was a little bit scared. I didn't know how I was going to perform, but he did say to me beforehand he's never played against Memento before. So when I summoned out Memento, he was interested as to what was going to go on. I went full combo. Again, I think pretty sure I drew into an Anguich and a Tatsu again, and he ashed me again, and I still went full combo. And he attempted to play through it, and there's a lot of plays that his deck could do because it's Runick. He can do lots of stuff, and it's White Woods, and they can do lots of stuff. But I managed to shut him down enough that I was able to take game 1 off him because he just could not penetrate through all of the interruptions that I had. And afterwards, he was like, "Wow, it really does put out those interruptions." Like, yeah, it does. Game 2. I didn't get so lucky. I think I drew into 2 Tatsus, I think, and a couple of other sort of dead cards that didn't come up, and he chose to go first. He set up a decent board, but I didn't necessarily know what to do. So I just went into a Tatsu combo, just a Tatsu 1-card combo. But he was able to shut me down pretty handily, and I wasn't able to get all that far with it, unfortunately. So he shut me down and then took me out quite handily. Finally, game 3. We were running a little bit low on time by this point because my combo takes ages to go through, and the Runick cards also, they don't waste a lot of time, but they take a lot of time up. So Runick often takes quite a bit of time having to shuffle decks so that you can redraw and stuff like that. So I chose to go first. I went full combo. He attempted to make it through. We had a bit more of a back and forth this time because he knew what I was going to be putting out, so he was able to sort of take things out that I'd used in the first game against him, and I thought, oh, he's learnt and he's good and he's learnt and I'm going to lose. But in the end, I did some damage to him, and then whilst he had 2 Chaos Angels on the field, which he loves to put 2 Chaos Angels out on the field. He's done it to me a couple of times now. But I'd done some damage to him, and I ended up winning over timeout. So he timed out and didn't do enough damage to me, so I ended up taking the W. So I took the W against the guy who I was terrified to face. I'm always terrified to face him. So yeah, I was really happy with that, and I went 2-0. Last game was against Ice Barrier. We didn't get past game 2, as you can imagine. My deck wants to interrupt as much as possible. His deck just wants to slow me down as much as possible, and he did so really well. So I went first. He was expecting dinos because I used the dino playmat. So when I started summoning Memento cards, he didn't know what the Memento cards did. I managed to go full combo once again. I got full combo, so the consistency in the deck is really good. So I went full combo, and I passed turn to him, and he was able to kind of systematically just nullify certain things with his Ice Barrier cards. And it didn't help that I didn't know necessarily what the Ice Barrier cards do so much. So I was thinking, I think I probably interrupted in the wrong places and things like that. So yeah, he wiped out my back row, I believe, and then systematically just started taking out monster effects, my monsters, and managing to get rid of them, and I wasn't able to stop him. He was also running like a Runick engine in there as well, so the Runick cards were also helping him do that. And then at the end of his turn, he was able to slap down a General Raiho. General Raiho, if you don't know what General Raiho does, every time I try and use a monster effect, I must discard a card. I didn't have any cards to discard by this point. I'd used pretty much my whole hand in the first 2 turns. It didn't go well for me. It didn't go well for me. I wasn't able to go any further. I was able to get an SP Little Night out, but he got rid of that, and I was done. I was done for with about 10 minutes left. So I chose to go first again in game 2, and I quickly rattled out full combo. Again, full combo again. So I think 7 games, I think I got full combo 5 or 6 games out of 7. Insanely consistent. I rattled through it as fast as I could to try and get to the point where I was safe, but I did make a little bit of a misplay. He went on his game onto his turn. He brought out a board, but he'd used Runick spells in that, so he couldn't use his battle phase. And I negated a little bit, but he still managed to get out a decent sized board. And the way that I went wrong was he used an effect to just draw a card on my turn. So I triple tactics talented. And I wanted to go further in on my combo to win on my own terms. It was the wrong call. I should have stolen his monster off him, and then just attacked over one of his monsters and given him some damage. And then we would have drawn. As it was, we were still on 8,000 life points when time was called. And that means that I got a match loss, which is a real shame. I could have scrambled it into a draw, but yeah, what can you do? What can you do? It's the way things happen, unfortunately. So we did go 2-1. We beat Tenpai Dragons, and we beat who I believe is one of the best duelists at my locals. So yeah, it was really fun experience to be able to do. But those Ice Barrier cards really messed me up, and I was so cross with them. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much. If you have stuck it around to the end of this video, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, just listening to me rabbit on about how I'm doing in locals. If you have enjoyed, then please do subscribe down below. I post Yu-Gi-Oh content every Friday. I also post Pokemon content every Tuesday. And yeah, thank you very much. I'm just trying to get to 250 subscribers by the end of the year. It'd be very much appreciated if you could help me out with that. But with that, thank you everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye.